I actually didn't choose Resarua, it chose me. There's a point in time in my life when I decided I'm not going to run again. But politics is what I like.
What's different this time around about your campaign, will you say?
Well, first of all, it's a different space. It's a different, well, people are all the same everywhere you go in Israel. But it's a new set of people that I'm working with. They are not used to me. And so I think maybe there's more openness, ready to talk of their talk. Let me know what it is they want. And a more forceful set of people, so to speak, because everyone thinks that it is their view that is the view. And what I do is try to make them understand that I have looked around the constituency and I have built my platform on a word called trail, TMIL. That trail speaks to me about T for tolerance, R for respect, I for integrity, and L for love. Inside of the constituency, one of the things that you find is persons talk about the fact that their present candidate, their present MP, not an MP in a local estate, is someone who is extremely aggressive. They have no opinion. And when you try to speak with her, you're shut down by her body language, her utterances of curse words. And they're just afraid to approach. Most of them are afraid to approach her. And when they do approach her, nothing's picked up. That is their word. What I tend to do different. I believe that first of all, if you decide that you want to go into representation of politics, it is not a gamma thing. It has to be a situation where you understand that it is all about service. Right at this present time in Jamaica, I find that very few people are being served. I used my first months, and even now, walking around, driving around, and I am not sticking to the main roads. I leave my vehicle and I will walk for the entire day. And I come back to it maybe 8, 9, 10 at night. And then it's just time for me to visit the nights at the wrong wrappings and so forth. And in touching base with them, what you're finding out that they're warm. They want somebody who can warm to them and listen to them. It is important to listen. Sometimes we talk too quickly. And when you talk too quickly, you don't really get the gravamen on the situation. I remember speaking to a man and he said, well, I've spoken to him, many people. And this particular man, he was talking to me and he said, you know, miss, not never do for me a day. And I used to, what do you mean? He says, I didn't vote. Not never do for me yet. And I said to him, you know, you're Jamaica. And this is the only place in the world you and I, as Jamaicans, can be first-class citizens. He says, so what that man did me? Yeah, me first class, but now I'm like dog and there's enough to do. And I said, yes, but then you have in your hands the authority to do something about it. You can look at what you're even knowing and you can listen to what is happening. And I say, you have the hearsays. Listen, there's enough material. Listen, learn, and make a decision as to whether you are going to go along party lines or whether you're going to look for someone that is going to be able to carry your message and your dreams. First of all, yes, party lines is a good thing, but if you do not have the type of candidate who is prepared to advocate with all of what is there, you can't just sit there and go nowhere because you're so busy dealing with your party line that you have not stopped to ask yourself, what has this party done for us as a community? Not so much as an individual, but us as a community. Look at the roads. Look at the situation dealing with water. Look at the situation dealing with light. Look at the situation dealing with agriculture. The youths. Talk to me about it. And he started to talk. Now remember, he had said nobody has ever done anything. And during his talk, he said, they asked KMP man, him did put up 6 community centers in this space. Mama, the whole of them that door.
That was for Ghana.
Yes, that was sport. Mama, the whole of them locked down. And I said to him, fine, the whole of them locked down. So here you are, you're saying that there was someone who did something in that way, even though now the whole of them locked down. You were saying we are going to vote. So why not give? No one take a chance on me. Since you had one lady for 9 years, and you're now looking at me and saying, yes, this and that happened. He said, but this and that. And I said, my driver was there who happened to happen Mr. Buchanan's driver. And he says, can I say so? I said, sure. He said, sir, all of these like water connections. I was driving Paul Buchanan when these were done. So it's not fair to say people social parties that not that I think. He said, that's true, And he says, well, and the light overhead. This was run by Paul Buchanan again. So how can you say? And he started to back up. Wow, yeah. And I said to him, there are times when you sow and you don't necessarily reap. But I'm sure you've reaped from many people who have sowed. Look at this place. It's full of mouths. It's full of Ethiopia. It's full of Guinea. Somebody planted it and you're reaping from it.
But I hear you, and sorry to interrupt, but politics can be a mean space. An experienced politician, you know this. And one of the things that your opponents use is your long string of losses. In fact, one man called you a born loser. Does that not get into your head? How do you shake off that tack and move forward?
Well, you see, I'm a born loser on his sight. I'm a born winner in my sight. Yes, one of the things that causes issues at times is when you speak your mind, when you say how you see things. That causes you to use. Also, when you're committed to doing what you know is right, when others want you to do something wrong. Maybe I've lost at the polls what I have lost. I never lost. I look at my gaze as those people whom I've helped along my journey. Many, many hundreds of people. I was at the National Solid Waste, for instance. Today, if I call one of the persons at the National Solid Waste, and I say, no, that bitch has not been picked, I see 2 and 3 trucks turn up at one time. Because they know how I protected and worked with now, and how great a job I did too. So, but I lost because the government changed. And then the government changed. There were those who would not have me come across to do the job. But I, in my own head, and the people in my head, continues to tell me how a great job I've done.
No disappointment, so like a string of losses, that no disappointment at all, no.
It would be not telling you the truth if I say that I was not disappointed. But that has never stopped me. My gains is every time I've been able to pull myself up by my foot, my strength, so to speak, and continue. It doesn't stop me. People is my business. That is what I want to do. And that will never stop me from working with people. And even in the days that I've lost, my girls will tell you that I don't go to Christmas unless I do things in my constituency for people. They know that during the time away from school when they're on holidays, they had to wrap thousands of gifts, thousands of food baskets, and bring to people. Even when I was not representative, it is what I did. It is what I liked it.
Why West Rural? In my mind, a very interesting seat. I mean, we went from Never Gallimore up the JLP. Paul Buchanan defeated him, but he was only a one-term MP. And Juliet Cuthbert is there now for 9 years, as you just said. So it seems like a constituency. Obviously, I'm not a political mind like you, but it seems like a constituency to me that can flip. Why West Rural?
I actually didn't choose West Rural, it chose me. There's a point in time in my life when I decided I'm not going to run again. But politics is what I like. I listen to people about how dirty it is, and any profession you go into. If you're dirty, you'll carry the dirt with you. If you're not, you'll carry the good things about you in there. So that doesn't faze me. Why West Rural? I was asked by my party to overlook Hanover. I was in Hanover for nearly 2 years as a parish manager because there's needed to have been some straightening up within the constituency, some organization work within the constituency, and so I went to Hanover. I worked there for nearly 2 years. Just before about a month or so before the last parish council election, I got calls. I'm always getting calls from people to come in here. But in particular, West Rural kept calling me, and even though I said, no, I'm not coming, I have work to do. I will help with the organization anywhere my party sends me. These calls were not even coming from the party. There were people within the constituency who has worked with me, because in your life as a politician and in your training that you do day in, day out, you come across persons in all the constituencies. They kept calling. West Rural people kept calling. Boy, we need somebody strong EQ. We need somebody who we believe can go the constituency together. And they invited me to a meeting, several meetings. I never went to them. But this last meeting I went to, I wanted to see what was happening. And we had found 2 gorgeous candidates, lovely women, to run the 2 seats in Hanover. And I felt they were at a place that they could manage on their own. And I was very happy with them. And so I said, all right, well, let me see what's happening. And that's just before the parish council seat, actually. And then I was still working now 4 days in Hanover. And I decided to go across to this meeting, and they asked me to chair the meeting. They were happy. They didn't want anybody else to chair it except me, and so they voted for me to chair the constituency. I still had the responsibility of Hanover, and I made them no claiming that Hanover is where I was born. I'm not going on there because I live in Kingston and I believe in proper service. I don't believe I can serve the constituency in Hanover from Kingston. And I do believe we have 2 excellent ladies who are going to be the candidates there. So I started to do 3 days in Kingston. And after a time, we had 7 people who applied for the seat. 7. I have not applied because I was a chairman of the constituency, and I felt I will continue to chair and let us choose a candidate. It so happens that the people were not so satisfied with the 7 persons who applied. Each one had their little block of support, and they kept asking me, please, And then the party had done a poll, and the poll showed me way ahead of her for 1x. I decided to go ahead.
So you would say that you have managed to unite the machinery in the constituency now, because I know that you have, you said 7 people applied to run on the party's ticket. So obviously they had their pockets of support, as you also said. Do you think you have a united machinery now with a week to go before the election?
I would not kid you that it is 100% united. Because, there are people who will still want to carry and think, their person is the person who share credit. But I think we're way down the goalposts, and they have now recognized that their person will not reign. And their persons will not run, not because I kept them out, but because a poll had been done, which we had all agreed to, So even many of those persons are now working with me. And we're going to bring the constituency through to the hands of the people.
But you didn't do very well in the local government election, even though nationally the PNP put down was strong. I think you won the one Brandon Hill.
We won the Brandon Hill seat and we lost the wedding seat, a small majority. And I don't know, the fact is that we didn't do very well. Brandon Hill came home with nearly 700 votes ahead of their opponent. And that did very well. And it's a parish council election. We don't normally judge by the parish council and the national. It didn't do very well in the national either. But the persons had given a person one term. That was just over 4 years. It was a 4-year term. They gave the lady another chance for another term. Nothing has changed with her. I'm coming home a couple nights ago, and there was a big piece of equipment I nearly ran into. It was so dark. Patching the roads. There is this newfound money. When you've had it 9 years, and the roads are so bad. And to bring insult to injury, when you drive that constitutes, it's just full of garbage. And I'm continuously being asked, call the truck sorters. Something has to happen. They can't continue to exist in this way. There's nothing entrepreneurial you can look at happening in the constituency. This is a constituency with vast land space. Vast land space. We have more bamboo than you've ever seen anywhere. It's a massive industry waiting to happen. I've seen the most beautiful furnishings, tourism items made of bamboo. And one of the things that I will be doing the moment I'm given the task is to get out there and get that industry going. There's a great deal of work that can come from that. We have many small waterfalls, ecotourism, community tourism, are the things that I'm going to be working on. The constituency has an opportunity to kick off. It needs someone who's going to lead, and I'm that someone.
I still want you to tell me how you... Well, you're right. It's a parish election, and that's different from a national election. But it's indicative, is it not? I mean, if you didn't, you need to do better in Red Hills, and you also need to. I think Stony Hill is stronger for the JLP.
Wow.
Or was okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need Just talk to me about your confidence in terms of bringing it all together, moving the goalposts, and taking the seat flipping the seat back to the PFP.
I think one of the things that the constituents have recognized is that I am not a Juliet Cuthbert. I have behind me a lot of information, have a lot of experience. I know how to get things done, and I'm prepared to get up and go and get it done. The policies of our own party is so dynamic that in itself is going to help us a lot. But they know I am a leader. You ask anyone who has worked with me. I am a leader. I know how to get things done. I'm not afraid of work. I usually laugh and say I don't have a chick or a child around my feet to keep me, so I'm going to get the work done. I don't know if I can point to anything, any innovative thing that their present member of parliament has done. Not one thing, not one. She's in the Ministry of National Security. Has she even organized a police youth club? No. And so they see someone who is prepared to get out there and get it done. I'm excited, I tell you the truth. I'm very excited this time around. As I said, the prices, when my government tells you, and we've all sat at the table, and they've decided it's time that this constituency, this Jamaica, but I'm zooming in on my own constituency, must start to reap the seeds of our forefathers who fought and died to make sure we had the vote. It's time they have a piece of Iraq. And the lad policy is still exciting to me. I'm going to have the amount of staff that is going to sit there and do nothing but make sure we look at every piece of land, that constituency, that we can place people. And that policy of 50,000 houses per year, which we will do. 500 of that belongs to Esruasintahu per year. Can you imagine? Young people have had to stay in because they can't live outside, they can't afford to rent out. Our government is going to be blessing them up with $500,000 towards their mortgage, and then build a house, and they will now pay part of the mortgage as part of it. Part of the rent they pay goes towards the balance of the mortgage. It's years. But how could he get in any better? I've been going to some of the schools, and the teachers have told me that come Thursday and Friday, the kids aren't at school because they simply don't have the food money. And the parent can't afford the bus fare either. This government is going to make sure that we keep the kids in the school, making sure that they pay their fares, making sure that we organize cooked meals for them. I grew up in England, born Jamaican, but I grew up in England. And if you kept your child away from school one day, school will be on the phone to you. A visit will be made to you. And if you keep it.
Okay, so to the final question. It's expected to be a close election nationally. What does September 3 look like for you? What kind of day are you having on September 3?
I am going to be having a good day. I'm human, and I'm gonna have butterflies. Yeah, I'm gonna have butterflies. But it's going to be a good day because the people will speak. The people send the message that it's time to have proper representation for West Torres and Darien. I'm gonna have a good day. I have a good team. I'm confident of their output. Let them have a good day.